All right, all right. Let me see if I can do something here. Oh yeah. There we go. There we go. There we go. Let's see. Is it live?
Right.
No, so, all right, where we at? You see us on there? Let me see. I might have to go live on
YouTube.
go on this what you call here. Let's see. Y'all come on in. What's up? What's up? What's up? I'll probably have to get on the Wi-Fi here. Yeah.
Hopefully it's good.
I think it is. It's trying to find this network. Okay. All right. Log in. Connect. All right. So I should be able to see. All right. Let's take a look. Yeah. There we go. We live, bro. It's public. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Y'all come on in. Come on in. Come on in.
Come
Come
on
on
in, my
in. Come on
peoples.
in. What's up? We just waiting on y'all to get in here for a little bit because we got a fire up show tonight. Yes, sir. I'm with my boy, Minister Carter.
Yes,
Yes, sir. We in this place tonight, y'all. So how y'all doing? What y'all up to? You know. Hey, you know what, bro? You
What's
had a
that?
good day today?
Oh man, it's been
All
a good,
right.
very productive day.
Let
Yes,
me
sir.
let me share this with a couple of people because I know some folks that want to get up on in here tonight. Let me do this right quick. I'm about to share this. Share this. Tag a couple of folks. A good day today on in here tonight. Let me do. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Y'all come on in, folks. Come on in. New Life Church of Orlando in the house, and all the people likewise. Y'all come on up in here tonight, yo. We got something that we really want to talk to y'all about. We got to get y'all updated as to what's been going on, and I'm gonna break down a couple of things that I saw.
Okay.
Took me a minute to get acclimated, but you know what? Sometimes when you be so hyped,
Yeah.
then you got to calm down.
You miss some. You miss some things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you miss a whole lot of stuff, and I finally looked at something, but I want to let everybody know tonight that we are in a good place, and there's some things that we need to straighten up on. And I'm going to share with y'all, share with everybody a dream that I had the other night. As a matter of fact, no, it was early this morning. I had a dream this morning. It was very telling. I'm not going to tell the names of the people that I saw, but I did see something, and it's big. It's big. It's big. So y'all stay tuned and be aware of stuff that's coming on. So y'all know Minister Carter had an opportunity to be in the courthouse, and last week we were sharing with you all, you know, the things that we saw in that he saw in court. Because unfortunately, I had to be at work, so I missed it. I
Yeah.
missed it, and that kind of sucked. But uh, you know, remind us what that atmosphere was like, bro. What was that atmosphere like there?
Oh man, at that time the atmosphere, like I said, by the time we walked in, you had a lot of people from our faction sitting on the right hand side and the jury section as well,
Okay.
and it was, of course, we're always happy to see one another.
Right, right, right.
Demonstrate. I mean, even from the other faction, we're
Yeah,
glad to see
right.
them as well. But it's just, unfortunate due to this everything that's going on.
Hmm.
It makes things a little shaky. But the courtroom was just cold, man. It's just cold, man, and just like it's like, man,
Like the atmosphere was cold.
the atmosphere was cold,
Mm,
man.
mm,
Because like
mm, mm,
we're in court,
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. In court, trying to figure things out, and I know that there were a lot of questions that people had regarding the ability of Attorney Mike,
Hmm.
and after Attorney Mike's surgery.
Oh
You
man.
know, I think that it helped boost his
Boost
confidence a lot.
him.
Yeah, because before that court date happened, people were, what is he doing? What is he doing? He was really having trouble seeing,
Mm,
and he had been having trouble seeing for quite a few years.
I'm with you.
But after his surgery, he talked to me on the phone, and Attorney Mike said, "Man, I see better than I have been able to see in years." He said, "I feel
Wow.
like a new man, like
Oh
I got a
wow.
whole new lease on life." And I heard that he got in there and
Oh
just
man.
ripped it.
Man, he was slam dunking. He was slam dunking. I'm telling you, man, he wasn't playing no games. And the good thing about it, many don't know this part about Attorney Mike, but
Hmm.
he actually was a part of the case
The
with Bishop, the
original
original
case.
case with Bishop and the National Church, which he was very instrumental in
And
helping
winning that
and winning
case.
that particular
Y'all know,
case.
y'all have to understand. Attorney Mike knows Attorney Mike is a fantastic lawyer.
Yes,
Robert
absolutely.
Mike is a fantastic lawyer,
Yes, sir.
and so they want him. Dennis faction. They want him off the case.
Mm.
And one of the holdups at what is, I want people have to understand that appeal, bro.
Oh man.
The appeal only stopped the vote.
Yeah.
Everything
Well,
else
delayed.
delayed. Thank you,
Delayed.
thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. It only delayed the vote. We are still going to vote. That is a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
The Judge Jordan has allocated that this is what we're going to do, and it's funny because you have to kind of, like, with everything that's going on, you kind of have to laugh at this stuff, because
Yes.
if you don't,
Yeah.
you'll lose your thoughts, you'll
Oh yeah.
lose your mind, and you got to stay in the mode of prayer. You just have to, because um, that is like the number one thing that we have directly is the prayer.
Yes.
It's the prayer.
Absolutely. Yes. And one thing I can commend. Uh, well, I hate using the word faction,
But that's what it
but that's what
is.
it is. One thing I can commend, um, even Pastor Derek, in this whole process from the beginning of the year. We began with prayer.
Yeah,
We had the New Year revival,
yeah,
and then immediately after that he shifted.
yeah.
He
Shifted.
shifted
Yeah,
this faction, for some time. Every Tuesday,
yeah,
prayer,
yeah.
prayer,
For a
occasion.
month.
Yeah. And I think it even went a little past a
It
month,
did.
if I'm
It
not
did.
mistaken. I mean,
It
I
did.
missed a lot of it because I was on the road working, but
I was trying to come. There were some days I missed too.
yeah, but it's powerful, man. We even had the prayer workshop, if I'm not mistaken, or
Yes,
summit.
the culmination when Prophet Fallons came.
Exactly,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Just praying through this process.
That's the only way that we have been able to last this far,
Hmm.
is simply through being able to pray
Yeah.
and stay in the face of God, because I the normal, you know, it's already a lot of tension.
Hmm.
Um and dissecting this thing has been just
Oh man.
trying to, it's like every week, every month, we find out something different. And
Yes.
so the dynamics have changed
Hmm.
a lot. And it's just, I think that what we have to do as there's so much damage. There's so much damage. And I finally just kind of, I'm like tired,
Yeah.
like tired, because I travel a long way, and I don't think that people really understand exactly how far I'm
Oh
coming to
man.
serve.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't do it if I wasn't committed to God and to the ministry. I'm not committed to a man. I'm not committed to a woman. Uh, it doesn't, it is the work of the ministry, the
Yeah.
work of the church, and not church work. Because if it was church work, then I would be demanding pay,
Oh yeah.
but I'm not. And not that I don't deserve it, because gas is high.
Yeah.
But I sacrificed to come here because I love the ministry and because of what Bishop Hutchins instilled in me.
Mm-hmm.
And we often tell people he wasn't just our bishop,
Right.
he was
He's
our
our
pastor.
pastor.
He
Yeah.
was our pastor. He was everybody else's bishop. He
Yeah.
was our bishop, yes. And that's what we called him, Bishop Hutchins. But he was our pastor.
Yeah.
And he laid so much in us with the foundation that he laid for the ministry of New Life, that there was no way with the things that we saw going on that we could just sit back and not say anything.
Right.
It just couldn't happen that
Yeah.
way.
You know what's funny? I remember years ago when Bishop was consecrated, uh, and it was like maybe the first Sunday after getting back from convocation.
Yeah.
You know, some people were still, saying, Pastor, Pastor, and I'm sorry. I mean, Bishop. He said, hold on. He said, no, the greatest honor is to be
To
y'all's
be y'all's
pastor.
pastor.
He
Yeah.
said, because y'all chose me to be y'all
Uh-huh,
pastor. Y'all
uh-huh,
chose me to
uh-huh,
be y'all shepherd,
That's right.
and
That's
y'all
right.
don't have to follow me.
Man,
So
that was our guy.
yeah.
I listened to so let me what I want to kind of like, because last week when we were talking, we were kind of going on um let me hey everybody. Let me respond to this. I got family members up in here.
Mm-hmm.
um there is Last week we were breaking it down, and Minister Travis Mason was on with us,
Mm-hmm.
and you all were sharing some of the things that were happening in court.
Mm-hmm.
um Ladies and gentlemen, saints and friends, ladies and gentlemen, those of you all who are listening, like, um there has been so much hidden things that you all
Mm-hmm.
don't even recognize, don't even know
Yeah.
that was going on in the background. It will blow your mind. And if you are not spiritually strong,
Oh yeah.
it'll take you out and make you leave the church, and make you leave the ministry. One thing that you have to understand is that the ministry of the church is it's for God's work, it's for God's people, and it is ideal for the community. It is if you're this is where we are.
Yeah.
It's strategic.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
This is strategically a strategic location. We are in a community of 100,000 people, a diverse community. We have more people in Pine Hills than there are in some towns and cities.
Okay. Okay.
So we're strategically placed here, and we have to use that to our spiritual advantage.
Mm-hmm.
God has already given us the advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And if we use it to our spiritual advantage, we can make leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
We've been stagnant for over a year,
Yeah. Yeah.
just back and forth in court.
Yeah.
I finally got this opportunity, bro. And it's crazy. I finally got the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had the opportunity, but I'll say I finally got to a place
Mm-hmm.
where I could listen to the video that Bishop Porter did after he left our church
Okay.
in June. Was that July when that happened?
June.
That was in June.
Yeah.
Um, and those of you who know us, you all that were been a part of this ministry from the day that we found out that Bishop died,
Yeah.
our mission was to make sure that this church stayed up.
Yeah.
That this church stayed up. That was our mission. Not
Yeah.
only was it us, but there were other people that were
Yeah.
members of the church, and a lot have left,
Yeah.
not understanding,
Mm-hmm.
not you know feeling or sensing that change came, and it came so hard and
Yeah.
abrupt.
Yeah. Yeah. And and that's the thing about it. As we was talking about earlier today, change is inevitable.
It's inevitable. Yes,
Change
sir.
is inevitable. You're either gonna be a part of the change, as we talked about, or you're gonna be a part of the change.
That's right.
And that's
One way or the
one way or
other.
the other. That can be a negative or a positive.
Absolutely.
So
Um, I want to kind of break down some of the stuff that he said. And so y'all
yeah,
gonna
let me mention this too.
go
I
ahead.
think when you think about even that particular, like between that Father's Day service and that Tuesday night where Bishop came in, the adrenaline was so
It
high,
was high. It was
because
high.
it was Father's Day.
Yeah.
This is technically the first
This was
Father's
after
Day.
our election.
Exactly. After the election, all this took place, and then the so-called insurrection, which that
Yes.
didn't take place like that. And then now, by the time it gets to it's Tuesday now.
Yeah.
Bishop Porter's here.
Yeah.
You know,
We on fire.
everybody's on fire. Like this ain't
Oh,
going
fire
down.
on
This is
10.
not going down.
Yeah.
Like how
Yeah.
we assumed that it would go down.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I can understand. I only mention that so I can understand why you didn't want to even.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't want to. I was on looking at it from our viewpoint.
Yeah.
It didn't look good.
Right.
And also how he was invited.
Right.
Because prior to Bishop Porter coming here on that day,
Mm-hmm.
you had mentioned
Mm-hmm.
to Dennis to reach out to Bishop Porter. And he said he would.
Mm-hmm.
A week later, when I went to him to ask him, would he reach out to Bishop Porter to mediate this situation? He said, absolutely not.
Right.
So
I was thinking Bishop Roger Jones.
Okay, I'm sorry, Bishop Roger Jones.
Roger Jones. I was thinking because he was a spiritual father to Bishop, and I assumed that was one that everyone could respect. And, he could kind of just mediate.
Yeah, and I believe that he could have. However, I don't think that anybody could get through to Dennis at that point, or even from the beginning, because I think that he had a plan and a mission. This was what he wanted and what he saw. And then based on just hearing what I was able to hear in that video, I was able to kind of like hit. I didn't agree with everything that Bishop Brandon Porter said, and I'm going to talk to those things that I heard him say that I emphatically did not agree with. However, there were things that he did say that he pointed out that were true. In fact, so leading up to just even before Bishop Brandon Porter came, we talked, we attempted. There were so many breakdowns in ministry in the church. There was an absolute breakdown. The communication sucks anyway. And even when Bishop was alive, the communication was just bad. I even talked to Bishop and I said, Bishop, you know what? The communication here in this church sucks. And he said, yeah, hell, I know. But his acknowledgement of it to me said that he wanted it to improve. But after he passed away, then just everything just broke down. There was nothing left. And trying to communicate with somebody who does not want to or has their mind made up, there is no way that you can communicate with somebody who has a mind of a mule. And what I'm saying by saying mind of a mule is stubborn. That's what I'm saying. A jackass is stubborn. You can pull and they go, they ain't moving. You can beat them. You can put a hot rod. You done seen them before. So trying to talk to this person, trying to talk to Dennis, trying to communicate, and it was complete shutdown on everything. So let me kind of play, because I don't know if people will be able to hear this when I'm playing it, but I just want to kind of talk to some of the stuff that he said, and we can kind of like bounce back and forth off of this, because I want to just say, even where we are, he did mention, and it's crazy, because I'm not going to play everything. I'm going to skip forward on some things, but what he did say in this video that he made, some of that stuff has already come to pass. Like he touched on something. And today, as I'm listening to it, I'm like, whoa, I don't even know what made me want to listen to this thing, bro. I don't even know, but I had to. So here we go. And y'all are getting our live reaction as we watch this.
Good morning. Come on, and we can talk for a second or two before I get on my flight to get out of Orlando. Good morning.
So I'm gonna fast forward just a little bit. I'm gonna fast forward just a little bit.
And I love the
All right, so y'all know how YouTube work. They go through all these commercials. So I'm sorry, I should have downloaded. Actually, you know what? I think I did download this. Kind of give them a highlight while I'm looking for this. Give them a highlight of something that happened at in the courthouse. Let me let me.
Well, first of all, some of the things that took place in the courthouse, that, oh man, it's a lot. But one of the things that stood out to me that I didn't quite agree with was the way they try to degrade the attorneys. Try to
I'm talking about
degrade,
Dennis attorneys.
yes,
Yeah,
try to degrade and diminish the reputation of Bishop.
yeah.
And I was just sitting there, like I said last week, my stomach almost could turn because I was just looking at Dennis. I'm like, man, you really
Letting
letting
them
them
do
do this? And you know, some of the stuff is just so untrue. Saying things like when Bishop left Malone, he caused a jurisdiction to split and all these different things. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah,
You
that
know
was
that's
a
the
bunch of
untruth.
bull.
You know that's the untruth. And I mean, just like I said, just trying to bring his name down.
We know for a fact. We know for a fact that Bishop did not split jurisdiction.
He didn't even split the church.
He didn't even split the church. When Bishop left,
The people decided
they
to walk
decided
out
to
with
go
him.
with him.
He didn't do that. He didn't say, "Hey, y'all come with me."
Exactly.
He walked out.
And that's one thing that Bishop Porter said, though, that I disagree with. Bishop
Okay.
Porter said that Bishop took the people with him.
No.
That is not what happened,
No,
sir.
no,
That's not what happened.
no. They decided to follow him when he walked out. From my understanding, they said Bishop Bell got up to the pulpit to preach his sermon,
And the people
and that's
got
when
up.
Bishop walked out the side door, and the people really, I guess, was really walking up to say, "Okay, what's going on, Bishop? Are you okay?" You know, this and the third, and they begin to walk out behind him.
Yes, yes.
And they begin to say, "Okay, well, what are we going to do?"
I think 5% of the people were left.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
There were probably less than 5%
Wow.
of the people. If you can imagine when Bishop Sconiers passed away, and Pastor came here before Bishop Sconiers passed away. I think he was at a plateau. That huge church.
Yeah, he couldn't go. Yeah,
it wasn't filled. Like you would go in that church, and there would probably be a maximum of maybe 200 people.
Okay.
And you know that church seated, I think I want to say 12.
Maybe seven.
Maybe seven. Okay, seven.
Eight.
Okay, so
Something
then
like
it may not have even been 200 people.
That's why I heard it wasn't. But by the time when he came,
by
in,
the time he came,
75. Maybe.
It had plateaued. It had plateaued out. Bishop Sconiers was understanding of where he was. He also knew prior to his sickness that, you know, hey, okay,
Be careful.
I'm at my end here. When Pastor Hutchins came to Orlando, see, I wasn't even going to church. I was not going to church. I would visit, like, you know, I go get me 1 or 2 Sundays in a year. I'd go to church.
Look where the Lord brought you from.
And my family was like, "Hey, you going to Bishop's God? Go to your family church." And I was like, "Oh my God," you know. So I would, but when he passed away and I decided one Sunday I'm going to go to the church. It was like the United Nations up in there. Bishop had the church, and I got there, ladies and gentlemen, at 10:05. There was no seats, absolutely nowhere to sit.
And I'm gonna tell you, that blew my mind when I heard the story. You know, moving from South Carolina, and you know, knowing, of course, knowing Bishop and knowing his ministry.
Yeah.
But to come here at the time, I mean, as you know, I came almost like 11 years ago at this point. So this is, of course, years later. And just hearing the story about Malone Memorial, and he would tell me, he said, I grew that church. He said, when I came there, it might have been 50 to 75 people.
No doubt.
He said, in 3 years, 3 years. He said jam packed every
Jam
Sunday.
packed
You know,
every
every
Sunday.
Sunday. And I was like,
Bro,
wow,
and that was
that's
during that time frame, you know, when you go to people's church and they had the flags of the nations
yeah,
hanging.
the different.
Man, that was the first time I
You
had
haven't
ever
seen
seen that.
Yeah.
And when I walked in the church and I saw it, I was like, whoa. And I was just looking around, and the balcony, from the balcony to
That's
the
that.
front, it was completely packed.
That's what I
They
was told.
even
If you
had
didn't get there by a
chairs.
certain time,
You didn't have nowhere to sit.
man.
They would bring chairs out for people to sit in, bro, on the side. Like, and then that's pews. That ain't
Yeah,
even
exactly.
So that's
Not these little
not these
church
little
chairs
church
now.
chairs. Pews. The
Yeah.
pews were actually filled. So let's take a listen, y'all. Let's take a listen to this and kind of break some of this down here.
Give me some thumbs up. Let me know you can hear me okay. I got my phone kind of propped here, and I want to make that I don't think about Bishop Derek W. Hutchins and our friendship, and the times where I'm just going through my regular routine, and I pick up my phone, getting ready to call him. I'm like, man, my guy's not here anymore, and it's surreal. It's almost unfathomable, because it's a waking to all of us to get ready for the unexpected, called death. You know, I got a call from the local church, New Life Church. Pastor Dennis Keith Hutchins, who has assumed pastorship because of documentation that were left, and Bishop Sheard and myself and other general boards just adhere to what they had in place. And I want to talk about some of that just a moment.
All right. So he said he got a call from the local church. Basically, that was Dennis. Yeah. No one else from the church called Bishop Brandon Porter. When I asked Dennis to call Bishop Porter, he said emphatically, no.
Yeah, you told me.
I'm not calling. He waved. He did just like this. When I he waved it off. And so to hear Bishop Brandon Porter say that he got a call from Dennis was like, what? And then he mentioned documents.
Well, you know what? In his defense, it could have been at the time when Bishop had just transitioned, because you got to remember before the Tuesday when he came in.
But even this is the Tuesday that he came in.
No, I'm thinking about
before
the Tuesday,
prior
like
to
when Bishop died on that Monday,
and he came in Tuesday,
and he was showing the paperwork.
He was showing. What? So do you think that paper? Well, he didn't. Okay.
Because from my understanding, the succession letter was already there by the time they got here, because they had the memorial on that. I think
we had that prayer that Tuesday night. That kind of he was there. That's probably when they had that conversation and he saw those
exactly.
And we
that's what, from my understanding, that's the first time it kind of
came out. Yeah. Well, that's when and it took later on, because I know a lot of people were saying that last year, this same time last year, prior to that, people kept saying, but there's documents, documents. And I was going, what documents? Right. And everybody was talking about these documents. And what we come to find out was those documents were fraudulent.
It was fraudulent, yeah.
And so when he asked me to come, because he said there was a feud or something going on between he and little Derek, and I love Pastor Derek Hutchins II. Okay, for those of you that know nothing about what we're talking about, that's Bishop Derek Hutchins, my best friend's son, whom I've loved all of his life and would do anything for, and have done many things for his father and so on. I've been a true friend, even when it wasn't popular. I didn't do it for elections. I got relieved from 5 positions in the national church because of my friendship with.
So he got relieved from 5 national positions because he was friends with Bishop. I don't know. I don't know about that either.
With somebody else.
Yeah. We're gonna have to deep dive into that.
But even with that, since we've kind of breaking that down, if you go back to that Sunday, that Father's Day Sunday, remember when service was out and Pastor Dennis at the time, he was trying to give the benediction. He said, "Y'all come back Tuesday. I have Bishop Porter coming in."
He did. So now he did that. I'm gonna tell you why he did that. That was because of the election.
Exactly.
And and one thing that Bishop Porter is going to say on here, he's wrong on. regarding our bylaws, but I'll talk to that. And that's because of maybe his bylaws are set up differently. He didn't see the original bylaws. What he saw were the bylaws from 2016
Okay.
that had never been what's the word?
Presented to the state.
Affirmed. Yeah,
Affirmed.
we'll say affirmed, presented to the state or affirmed. Those are just bylaws that Bishop had rewrote. And he also said that Bishop wrote the 1999 bylaws. Bishop did not write the 1999 bylaws alone. The board wrote those bylaws. Mother Mildred Eason was one of those persons who was on the board that dictated those bylaws. So let's definitely we're gonna touch on that. But listen to this.
A person than we are people. There's so many souls.
And let me back up because he said something.
Harbor anything in my heart, man. I'm true. If I'm your friend, I don't care if it loses. If I lose points doing it, I've got to be true and loyal to friendship. It's not about an election for me. My nephew, as I call Derek, I haven't seen this live. Let me say that to you. I've not seen the live. I don't want to watch the live because I don't want to harbor anything in my heart concerning him. I believe he's grieving and going through some things, and I know there's been some wrong on both sides of this track as relates to he and his uncle and how this was done. We got to do church better. We got to do our business better. We can't afford to die and leave our churches up in the air with uns.
So he said we can't afford to die and leave our churches up in the air. We didn't. Bishop didn't leave our church up in the air. What happened is the truth was hidden from us on purpose. And I don't think that Bishop knew that. I mean, I don't think that Bishop Porter knew that. I think that when he came down, because he said he came down as a friend, when he came down, we were already in a frenzy. And he came down at the words and the conversation of Dennis. He had not come down at or hearing anything that anybody else has said. He only heard one person. And I remember when we were standing out there on the back under the port, and he asked me, he said, well, Sconyers, what's going on? And I said, Bishop, you already know what's happening here. Why are you trying to make us like we stupid? You talking to us like we stupid. I wasn't trying to hear anything that he had to say at that point. You came up here, you pulled up in the carport with that Negro who we had been, and what Bishop Porter also didn't know was the amount of time that we had spent trying to communicate, watching the church take a landslide and avalanche go downhill. I'm sitting in the top, just looking at the people and watching it just dwindle. So I had to take a step back and listen. Now that I'm at this place where I can listen and dissect what he said, because previously I couldn't. So did you have anything that you wanted to say on that? All right.
Urgencies, pastors, I'm learning it as well. Let's be clear to our people what is to happen after we leave here.
Just to allude to the fact that what you were saying concerning Bishop did not leave this church up in there. That's why he left it on paper.
That's right.
Not the succession letter,
right?
In the bylaws, in the articles.
That's
of the
right.
Corporation.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? He left a plan in place that, guess what? If something was to happen to me, boom.
Ooh, thank you, Holy Ghost.
This is the process.
Thank you, Holy Ghost.
You know,
while you were saying that, you even while you were speaking, you were saying that I heard the Holy Ghost speaking through you. Bishop never affirmed those other bylaws from 2016 on purpose.
That's good.
He did that so he could do what he needed to do. But he left the original bylaws in place. Bishop was not a dumb man.
Oh, not at all.
He was extremely intelligent. So the bylaws that were in place in 1999 that had been stamped, sealed, affirmed, and on file with the state of Florida were valid, hands down. And let's just be real. Bishop redid the bylaws because there were things that he wanted to do. He could see things that that he wanted,
Mm-hmm.
that the other people could not see how to get there.
Mm.
Sometimes when you are a visionary, you can explain your vision, but people still don't get it clear.
Yeah.
And they need some convincing.
Mm.
But Bishop wasn't that kind of man that I ain't gonna wait for you to.
Right, that's true.
I ain't gonna wait for you. I don't have time for you to make up your mind. And because he didn't wait, we are where we are as far as the location.
Right.
All right.
Right.
So yes, brother. Yes. Thank you, Holy
Wisdom
Ghost, for
fighting,
speaking through this
losing
man.
souls. We're more concerned about a person than we are people. There's so many souls at stake here. New Life Church is one of the most incredible churches around, and they got some of the most talented people that there are.
Do.
But there's some issues here. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm here because of my love for my best friend, Bishop Derek W. Hutchins. I was called by Pastor Dennis, they call him Pastor D, which is Bishop Hutchins' brother, who's been here for several years working with him in ministry.
All right. So he said that he said Dennis was here working with Bishop in ministry for several years. That's questionable, sir. That is really, really questionable because those of us who were here for those several years, and even those that were here for a few years, we had an opportunity to see him, how he acted and how he maneuvered in ministry firsthand. And it was as if, let's be clear, with them, when you hear people say the 80-20 rule, if that was a duo team, then it was 99-1.
Wow.
Bishop did all the work. And if you have to come behind someone for everything that you need them to do, then you might as well do it all by yourself.
Yeah.
So there was no hand in hand. That was just a front.
Yeah.
Bishop protected his brother because he knew who he was dealing with and who he was working with. And he would have to beg the people to stay in church to listen to the man preach. Please don't leave. Please don't go. Please stay. Please listen. Hey, if Bishop wouldn't tell people he was leaving to go out of town.
Yeah, I was told that several times.
And the people got to a point where they could sense when they walked into the building. They were like,
that's what they said since the Oak Ridge days. They would
Bishop here?
They don't see his car. Yeah.
They be on high alert because you know he's gonna be here first thing.
Exactly, he's the first person.
He's gonna be the first person. So let's see what Bishop Porter has to say.
So I love Derek the second, and I know Derek said some things like I was mentioning about the election and all that. He was kind of I couldn't hear all he was saying. I was standing behind the podium. For us, if we were concerned about an election. And that's why we don't make the right decisions sometimes in life, because we're more concerned about political things than we are prophetic things. That's not why I didn't come to Orlando in the office of general board member or secretary of general board. I did not come in that office. I came as a general in the kingdom, as a best friend to Bishop Derek W. Hutchins and a friend to this local church.
All right. I know y'all didn't hear that. So what y'all gonna have to do is y'all really gonna have to go to YouTube to hear Bishop Porter's video. It is still up. But one thing that Bishop Porter said was he made mention, and he's gonna talk about this later. He talked about family members taking over churches and different things of that nature. He did. Yes, sir. No problem. He did make mention of that. Hey, auntie, my auntie. Hey. He did make mention of this fact. One thing that he did say was that people give people positions. They do.
Yeah.
Politically, and he talked about, I'm going to say that I think things changed when Bishop J.O. Patterson came in.
Okay.
Because under the previous bishops, right? Under the previous bishop, I believe Bishop
Mason was, but Bishop J.O. was the first presiding.
He was the first presiding.
Yeah.
Things did change a lot. And when we, and this isn't something that is even new to Church of God in Christ, this is Pentecostalism, Pentecostal churches, pretty much. If the father is the pastor, it's assumed that the son, but that's not necessarily the truth. Um, and or my best friend or my nephew or my cousin or somebody that I want to give a favor to. And what has happened, the deterioration of leadership has come by way of nepotism and returning favors. The deterioration of leadership in the church comes by nepotism and returning favors. We gotta get past that, because what happens is we give people a, what I would call is a
My mic was on. Sorry.
that's all right. I think it's still picking up from this one, but they're both good. What I think
Thanks, Trina.
what when we do nepotism and favoritism, we end up picking people who are not qualified, and they only are in it for the reason of getting money, getting access to things, and it ends up being not good for the people. So that's something he said, but to me it's something that he also lives by, because he's benefited from that very same system.
Exactly.
His father was the bishop.
That's right.
He's benefited.
Yeah.
So how you going to talk to me is it's, in my opinion, it is hypocritical to tell somebody else how they should do, but it's the same thing that you benefited from,
Right,
and
right.
you don't even acknowledge it or recognize it.
Yeah, I got you. That's good. That's good.
That I have been a friend for financially and otherwise. I have advanced this ministry.
Now he said he gave Bishop money and helped our church out. He may have, but let me zoom on past that.
Because I saw souls. There was a young man, I asked him, I said, how old are you, son? He said 16. And to have him, and I love Dennis, we were roommates.
Okay, let me back
Christian
that up.
value he's going to lose as a result of that. We can't be so concerned about positions and power and placement that we forget about the people, y'all.
I agree with that.
I love Derek W. Hutchins II. It's like a nephew. And I love Dennis. We were roommates. I was closest to Bishop Derek Hutchins. I love both of them. Here's the problem. They don't love each other. I love Derek. I love Dennis. And that's a heartbreaking thing to think. And I know Bishop Hutchins would be heartbroken to know that his son and his brother can't work together to help finish building and impacting the ministry that he's promoted, that he's built, man, through tears and sweat and blood. This is a miracle church. Bishop Hutchins went through a lot, with the national church parading in on him. He walked away with the people and started another church from scratch. This guy's been a survivor.
And he walked away. That's where he said that Bishop walked away.
That's the kind of friend I am.
And took the people with him. He didn't do
I'm
that.
I'm gonna speak truth to power. I don't care who you are. I'm gonna tell you the right, whether you want to hear it or not. And I only came last night to mediate conversation, not outcome. Hey, I don't have a dog in the fight in that sense, whether it's Derek as a pastor or Dennis, okay? That's not why I came. I came to hear what was the concern so I can give them wisdom as to how to go about this.
All right. So that's where he says he came out of concern. And I'm questioning, I question that because of the conversation that who he had his conversation with. He had his conversation with Dennis.
Right.
So anything that was said to Bishop Porter, he only got one side of the coin. And I look at that and I'm like, Bishop, you really only got one side of the coin. That's why we were fired up, because it made the approach made it seem like he was coming to tell us he's the pastor. Y'all just do what he says. And that's totally against everything. And I think that it happens. It was a walk down, because when we first started off, people were like, no. What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? And I feel almost completely vindicated simply by the fact that even what is happening now, even after Bishop Porter has left, and what has been revealed after he left, with Bishop Jimmy Williams doing what he did and giving Dennis the pastorate of this church outside of the instituted bylaws. We are independent, regardless of how Bishop Porter feels about our church being under the Church of God in Christ. We are still Church of God in Christ doctrine, but we are 100% independent of the national body of the Church of God in Christ, which is why after he left, Bishop Drew Sheard put out the letter stating that this is not a Kojic matter. He came to say that. So let's hear a little bit more.
I talked to the presiding bishop and told him that I was coming, and out of respect, because he's my leader, and I wanted him to know I wasn't going in the name of the Church of God in Christ or Jill Board. Yeah, now, can I be truthful with you? Yeah, you know, Bishop Shear is my friend, my brother, and my leader. He says, "Well, I'm not going." He says, "And I don't advise you to go, but I know because of your love for Derek, you're going." And that's absolutely true. That's the only reason I came, because I wanted to see this church healed and not have a big.
Well, you know, and that goes back to something that was mentioned in court by Judge Jordan when, because basically that's the argument in the courts.
Yeah.
Is the church Kojic?
Right.
Is the church independent? Is the church Kojic? The church independent? And he actually, you know, if the church is Kojic, why are y'all in my court?
Right. That's right.
Why is it that Kojic is not rectifying the situation?
Exactly.
You know, so
there's true. The bishop, that was a valid and a true question that he asked. If you are here, where is the general board? Where's the representative? You don't even have a bishop in this courtroom saying that you are Church of God in Christ, because they know that we are not. They know that they have no authority. And so for Bishop Jimmy Williams to do that, it is exactly what I said. And by him assigning Dennis as the pastor and making himself the bishopric, that was a ruse. He was going to get what he came to get, because he already did it to the other church. And it is at the place now where the DA in South Florida, I don't know if that's Broward County or Palm Beach County, one of the two, the district attorney has picked up that case. So it's like, this is something that sticks in my mind. Every time something else pops out, it reminds me of when he said to me, "Dennis, I'm not new to this. I'm true to this." And then he sat in the courtroom and he said in the court, "I'm doing what I saw everybody else do." Not only that, he's saying, I don't know if there was a miscommunication between him and Bishop Brandon Porter. I don't know if Bishop Porter thought he was here for one thing, and in Dennis's mind, he was here for something, because he does seem to conflate things and get things confused. Bishop Porter is saying here that he came as a friend, but when we were sitting in court, Dennis said, Bishop Porter, he came, and he's the second highest ranking, and he is not the second highest general board. He is not.
He didn't say general. He said the highest ranking in this church.
He said he is the second highest ranking bishop in this church, and that's not true. Bishop Porter knows that he's not the second highest ranking. He's a secretary on the board, and that's not diminishing his position, but I'm just saying he's not number two.
Exactly. Number two would technically be number one. The first presiding,
absolutely, to the presiding bishop. That's right.
Jerry Wayne Macklin.
Exactly. So that
if you're going to look at it,
and that's how it goes. If anything happens to Bishop Sheard, then Bishop Macklin takes over. So Bishop Porter, I don't know if what he was listening to and what his thought process was and coming here. He had no clue. He thought that we didn't know. And on some of the things that he's saying on his live, it's still like he left here unclear. at least unclear as to what we knew. We knew exactly what was going on. Like
debacle and breakdown and lose the people they have, the community influence.
now,
He says, and I don't advise you that I was coming. And out of respect, because he's my leader, and I want him to know I wasn't going in the name of the Church of God in Christ or General Board. Yeah, now, can I be truthful with you? You know, Bishop Shea is my friend, my brother, and my leader. He says, well, I'm not going. He says, and I don't advise you to go, but I know because of your love for Derek, you're going. And that's absolutely true. That's the only reason I came, because I wanted to see this church heal and not have a big debacle and breakdown and lose the people they have, the community influence and the hope. And then for somebody to go
sorry, Bishop, but by the time you got here,
It
was already
happened, yeah.
months before you got here. You got here in June, and we have been dealing with this since December.
Yeah.
And so we were 6 months in when you got here. So unfortunately for him, when he came in, he stepped into a hornet's nest.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
He stepped into a hornet's nest, and it's sad that your friend, your homeboy, tried to paint a picture of the church members as these people who didn't know what they were talking about and didn't know who we were. But when he asked the questions, he was asking questions, and he was like, he couldn't hear. No, you couldn't hear, because
it was a lot.
It was a lot going on.
But there was some times when he actually was able to ask some questions and get a response, because he was asking questions like, "Well, you guys haven't paid reports, and how it's been years."
2014, Bishop. 2014.
Bishop paid his reports as a bishop.
Bishop did, right?
But the church itself, New Life.
No missionaries, no elders, no ministers, no deacons, no reports were paid.
As a matter of fact, if the truth be told, this church was not a part of a jurisdiction.
No, it wasn't.
It was not a part of a jurisdiction, quote unquote, because as we know how this works, you can't put a domestic
into a foreign.
And that's what Bishop was working towards, GCFC, and he was trying to have that ratified as a jurisdiction.
Bishop Porter said that we were part of Venezuela, and we told him we're not.
He knows that.
I was like, why? And see, this is what makes me question his motives. It's like you. That's what made me question the motives. Like, you knew this, right? You knew this. Let's say, I'm so tired of the lies about Bishop Derek Hutchins didn't want his son to take over New Life. He actually has a plan for Derek Jr. to take over in a period before he even died. And that is true. That is true. There were, and Bishop Porter actually mentions that in this video, which was surprising to me. Because he said that he spoke in this video. He said that he spoke to Dennis. And he said that he told Dennis, I know that he wanted his son to pastor this church. And he also knew that it would be a choice of the people. But Bishop's desire was that we would want his son.
Exactly.
But ultimately, the decision would be
on the people.
And Dennis knew that, because Bishop Porter also in this very same video said, Bishop said, when I retire, I don't want no old man taking over for me.
Bishop said it in the pulpit several Sundays, man. And,
plenty.
Bishop said, he said, listen, at that time, he said, in a few years, I'll be 70. He said, I'm planning on retiring.
Yeah.
He said, if I'm going to be 70, he said, that'll make Pastor D, because I think
67.
I think it's 67. He said, no, this church is going to need a younger leader,
and they need one now.
And I'll tell you, he said by that time, because I remember those Sundays. He said, by that time I get to that point, he said, I just want to be able to just walk through that side door and just wave my hand.
Sure did.
People just fall out of it.
He wanted that whole Holy Ghost. He was funny like that, but that was real.
By that time he knew.
Yeah.
And he said, listen, he said, this church, he said, well, matter of fact, church growth dynamics teach this.
Listen to this, y'all.
And this is what Bishop would teach us. He said it even several Sundays, even on the Sunday morning. He said, well, he said as a leader you can only reach two generations
Up front
up front
and two
and two
back.
generations behind. So he was saying that at that point he was in
He
his
was at his
60s.
60s, yeah.
So he said, of course I can reach all the older saints that's because they're going to come, the older mothers and so forth. He said, but I can't
Reach back.
effectively reach past 40s.
Yeah.
I can't reach the 30s generation. I can't reach the 20s.
Right.
The,
There's a disconnect.
Exactly.
And even now, post-pandemic, the way church moves is so different.
Oh yes.
It is so different. You have to, in order to be successful in a church as a leader, you have to be very creative, you have to be innovative, and you have to be open. You have to be open to criticism. You have to be open to ideas. You can't allow people to make you be something or seen as someone that is divisive. And you definitely don't need divisive people in your circle and in your corner, because they will destroy what has been given or gifted to you. So you got to listen, especially now. It is so critical because people have millions. I mean, literally, the internet gives people millions of choices. They can stay home.
Yep, that's right. And that's why, and the main thing that we kind of talked about even earlier, the post-pandemic church is totally different church.
It's a different church.
It's a different church. And
it's a different church.
Change, like we was talking about, change is inevitable.
Yep.
You can either, get in and learn what's going on, or you're going to be
left behind.
A casualty.
Yes.
You're going to be a casualty of change.
I heard somebody say this, and it was so true. She's a senator, and I can't remember what state she's in. But she says, they asked her a question. They said, what do you say to people who don't come to vote or who don't vote? She said, you don't have to vote. The vote gonna do you.
Exactly. That's right.
So whether you vote or not, you're gonna be affected by whatever you did not vote for or what you voted for. Or if you did not vote at all, you're gonna be affected by the results of that vote. So that change is like a steamroller. You get in the way, it's gonna run you over.
That's right.
You either learn how to adapt to it or you get out of the way. And Florida, not Florida in itself, let me say, it's certain pockets of Florida that are still in, like, you can go and it's really, really churchy. But Orlando was not that city.
It's very diverse.
It's very diverse. It's a different animal. And the way that you approach ministry here, you have to be open to suggestions and how to do it. Bishop was innovative.
Of course, yeah.
He was extremely innovative. He was ahead of his time, and he was forward thinking. And the church that he came to in 97 is not the church that he left in 2022.
Oh no,
it's different
for sure. And even just talking about change, I researched this and I was just reading just on change, different changes or whatever, and what's the outcome of change, positive change and so forth. And
I'm sorry. Go ahead. We're gonna address that. One.
And one of the things, in reading, one of the authors said this: to ignore change is actually what you're actually doing is acknowledging change.
Absolutely.
The reason being is because you don't ignore something that's not there.
You can't. It's got to be there for you to ignore.
It's like this. Wow. If I know this is sitting here,
and I'm doing like this, looking all past it.
You see what I'm saying? You can try to look past it.
Well, that's wild.
Yeah.
That's deep. Brother.
Ignoring change is actually acknowledging it.
Oh, wow. Y'all hear that? Some of y'all have said to me that different people that y'all come to church, and there are different people in the church that actually ignore you. They are acknowledging you by ignoring you, because what you got, it's got to be something.
You don't ignore something that's not there.
Wow. Y'all hear that? That goes for me. That goes for me. Listen, there is, there's a question It says, "What is Earl Carter position at New Life with Pastor D?" And Lady Drina replied, "He is the assistant to Pastor D." And somebody said, "You got to be kidding me." No, sir, that is the truth. He named him the assistant pastor, and he is full of debacle, and he knows better, just like Dennis does. He's a whole clown out here. Well, listen to this, y'all. Now Bishop Porter got mad because he was mad about the going live. Now wait a minute. Now Bishop Porter, come on now. You the king of live in the Church of God in Christ. Don't nobody go live on social media more than you do. Like, come on now. You are the king of going live. And when you go live about whatever you want to go live about. But he want to chastise these people for going live. Come on now. That's what my daddy say, the pot calling the kettle black. My dad used to tell me, if whatever you see me do, you can do. That means that whatever he did was right. I could do it. I never saw him doing anything wrong. If he did, it was out of my eyesight.
Excellent on Facebook.
Let's do this.
Would you go live with you disciplining your child?
Maybe some people do. Let me fast forward that a little bit. He did.
And expose the hadn't had a church meeting since Bishop.
All right. Here we go.
Live. Come on, y'all.
This is something he's gonna say. This is
how we operate. And it's a shame that all that went down like that. But I want you to know Bishop Porter was only there to try to speak peace and to try both sides to talk. I didn't know that the church hadn't had a church meeting since Bishop.
It just goes back to the same point.
Mm-hmm.
He would. See? That's why he have to keep saying, "I'm coming in as a friend." I was only coming as a friend. When you really think
there's a message in there.
Come on, man. I'm only coming as a friend because at the end of the day, he knew he didn't have the authority to come as.
Y'all see how we dissecting this?
You see what I'm think about
That's the truth.
Because think about it.
He didn't have the authority.
With all that going on, why did Pastor D have to call his friend in, his friend of influence?
Mm-hmm.
Why did you even have to call him in if this church was a part of Eastern Florida even at the time?
Right, because if that were the case, why Jimmy Williams
didn't you call your bishop?
Exactly. But another, you're on point with that. And to add to that point, he kept saying, "I'm coming as a friend," because Bishop Sheard had told him, "Don't go at all."
That's right.
He says, "Stay out." He said,
"I'm not coming.
I'm not coming, and I strongly advise you not to go either." So that that to me, you disobeyed your leader. But he had to come on the live and make up, say all these things to cover for what he had done. I'm friend. I love Bishop Sheard. He's my leader. This, that. Well, if he's your leader, you 100% disobeyed him. So let's talk about that. Let's hear what else he got to say.
Hutchins died. Now there have been board meetings because they have an executive board, a board of trustees.
Oh,
and all that went down like that. But
what he was saying is when he didn't realize when he got here
that there was no meeting.
That we had never had a meeting. And I am now, when he said that, I'm now clear also that he only heard about the 1999 bylaws. He never read them. And he did not know that those were.
Or he could have also been saying he didn't know there wasn't a meeting since Bishop died.
Which it wasn't.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's kind of if let's rewind. Let's make sure we got this together.
Just limit your
y'all understand. This is us listening to this for the first time. Like
it's like a reaction.
It's a reaction video. We never listened to Bishop Porter on this. I didn't, and I'm kind of glad that I'm at a place where I can at least hear what he had to say.
Opportunity to reach others. You don't go live. Come on, y'all. We gotta have wisdom in how we operate.
That is funny to me how he said that. As much as he go live.
I want you to know, Bishop Porter was only there to try to speak peace and to try to get both sides to talk. I didn't know that the church hadn't had a church meetings.
Oh, okay.
As Bishop Hutchins died. Now there have been board meetings because they have an executive board, a board of trustees. Bishop has bylaws that he put in place that he developed first in 97 or 99, and then he had a second revisal of the bylaws, and they have
So that's why I was saying that first set of bylaws, Bishop did not do alone.
Right.
There was an actual board
Mhm.
of directors, a board. They all came together
Mhm.
with those boards, those bylaws, and instituted those bylaws for New Life Church of Orlando. It wasn't until 2016 that he revised because he ran into some roadblocks,
Okay.
and there were things that he wanted to do, and the board said no.
Okay. I got you.
Was it and it was regarding financial movements, and I think that it is very important to have a board that will govern correctly.
Sure.
So and they were doing it for the not for them or anybody. It was for the benefit of the people, which is extremely important. We almost finished
that
it,
he
y'all.
did, I think, in 16. But no church, listen to me. You got to check your bylaws, brothers, and meet with your people to know nobody should be able to call a meeting with a local church and the pastor's not in agreement with this.
So that's not what our bylaws state.
Right.
Our bylaws state
It just need 3 board
it just
members.
need 3 board members, and that's exactly what happened. And so under the 2016 bylaws that were never ratified, that were never not even notarized or submitted to the state of Florida, because had those bylaws been submitted to the state of Florida, they would have been rejected because it does not align with the Constitution of the United States. This is not a dictatorial country. This is not Russia. This is not China, communist China. This is not Equatorial New Guinea. This is a country of shared interests. And so people have an opinion and they are able to voice it without being, they can be, my opinion, you can criticize my opinion, but I don't care. That's your opinion, right? But there are rules and regulations, and the board said, hey, no. And so Bishop was like, that ain't gonna happen to me again. So, hey, it is what it is.
I got
you. Or at least the board is not, because, it may be an issue with the pastor. And the board needs to say, we're going to have a meeting. But you can't meet with 20 or 30 people and take over the church. You got to meet with everybody. And you.
All right. So Bishop Porter did not know that is not what happened.
Exactly.
That is absolutely not what happened. That's the story that he was given. Letters were sent out to the board members, and emails were sent out to all of the members. They had a choice. And it was more than 30 people in that room, sir.
There's a lot more people online.
And there was a lot more people online. There were more than 30 members sitting in that room to vote. There were 2 people. There was one person that came in at the behest of Dennis, and he has since left the church because of all of what he has seen this Dennis doing. And I believe that there is remorse in his heart for things that have happened and for the people. Let's just see what it is. But it wasn't no 30 people.
No, and it wasn't just 30 people saying that, we don't want Pastor Dennis as the leader.
More than that.
It was a whole lot more people than that.
It was a whole lot more people than that. There were people in the room and there were people online voicing their dislike and not, I don't even want to, maybe I shouldn't use not the word dislike, but just not the want for him to be the pastor of that church.
Exactly. Because, initially, remember, I was even saying, I said, listen, I don't have an issue with Dennis per se. I said, but to lead me,
thumbs down, bro.
That's just not, that was something else. But the thing about it is also, just to go back to that point that he was saying, 30 people can't just call. The letter was sent out. It was sent out to all the board members.
All the board
They were
members,
saying,
certified mail at that.
and then that came up in court.
Yes.
Like a few hearings back, when they were
Yes.
saying that it was in the mail,
Yes.
and they didn't know.
And now, where is the mail? The mailbox sits right outside, and every day
And then they said
it's collected.
They ended up saying that it went to the PO box, and only one person had the key to the PO box.
And guess where the mail was? The mail was sitting right there
on the table.
On the table where it always sits, where all the mail that is collected that sits. There's a big, humongous mailbox that's under the port at the back of the rear entrance of the church. The rear entrance, when you're going into the offices, there is a huge mailbox. As a matter of fact, the person that was tasked with checking that mailbox did it religiously and faithfully, and that was Brother Abraham Anisi. That mail was in. And his apparently was the only one that had that open, according to their testimony.
Witnesses.
His, but every board member received a letter, whether they were notified. It wasn't. The law states that we were supposed to send it and give them 3 to 5 days notification or something like that, and it was sent certified mail. So these were not things that were done arbitrarily. No meeting was. This stuff was planned weeks in advance.
Because even like I think it was the Tuesday before the actual meeting, Pastor D got up at the Tuesday night.
That's right.
I was told, and I was notified about a meeting that's supposed to be taking place, some vote or whatever, and this, that, third, but I ain't authorized it, so y'all don't go. That's
right.
Basically what was
he
said.
did. As a matter of fact, you are absolutely right. Thank you for reminding me of that. He did stand up in church and said that they're on the Tuesday night Bible study, said it on video and over the mic, that y'all heard about it, and then got in court and said he didn't know anything about it. So is that your brain, or you just lying? Like I said to him before, he's definitely a liar. He is definitely a liar. And not only did he do that, but he also had Tangela make a phone call. I got the call on a robocall with her voice on it, because she was the only one who did the robocall, saying don't go to the meeting. So Bishop Porter, what you were told was a lie. What you were told was a lie. We have the voicemails, brother. And we have the video, and we have the knowledge. This is firsthand knowledge. We were here.
The meeting, it's a way this happens. And I say to my nephew by relationship, Pastor Derek W. Hutchins, you never have to chase what's chasing you. Okay. His father has always said that I want my son to succeed me in my retirement. Now, he was not.
Okay. Well, guess what? I'm just going to say something here concerning that.
Go ahead.
It looks like the people are chasing him in this situation.
They are. You're absolutely right.
I mean, the proof is in the pudding.
Yes, sir.
You don't have to chase what's chasing you. Well, look, the proof is in the pudding.
Proof is in the pudding, sir. There it is.
Anyways.
Point blank. I'm gonna forward this, so I'm gonna go because he said some other stuff, and
And I just the bishop, like my father did me. My father.
All right, here we go. This is crazy.
Can I tell you something? Man, I want my sons to preach so bad, but I can't call them. I wish they could preach right now like little Derek. Yes, sir. I'd probably name him as the pastor, and I'd just be the bishop, like my father did me. My father made me the pastor of his church, and I said, Dad, are you sick?
So this actually, what he is saying actually goes to what people are mad at Pastor Ty Tribbett for saying. That they're saying he called church whack. He called church whack. He absolutely emphatically did not call church whack. He said the system of church is whack, and we have been ingrained. And he also admitted to being a benefactor of that whack system. He said it, and I'm gonna play next week. We're gonna play. I might even play it tonight before we go. It's getting late. He made a powerful statement about the fact that we put more emphasis on the church than we do God. We put more emphasis on the services,
Mhm.
the concerts, the everything,
Mhm.
but God is left out of the picture.
Mhm.
To me, it could be almost like a Hophni and Phineas situation,
Mm.
because you could have people who that's nepotism. You know,
Mhm.
so of course the legacy of the church is not a son. It's not.
Mhm.
It's not. The father's desire is, the bishop's desire is to be recognized.
Yes. Yes.
But we have to also understand that these are the things that he's talking against, but at the same time, he benefited.
the same way. Yeah.
Your father was the bishop, so
He named you as the
he
pastor.
named you. So how did that? He named you the pastor, and then
He just said that he would make his sons
he
if
would.
they could preach.
Nepotism, returning favors. These are the things that this is what the man was talking about when he said church is whack. He's talking about the system of it, and there's no vetting of these people. But listen to what is something else that he said in here. I
What are you doing? You know what he says? I want to see it go to the next level. So wise thing to do. Just like Bishop Blake just made his son the pastor of his church. Why? Because if Bishop Blake had closed his eyes without making his son the pastor, then the national church would be there. But now his son is the pastor and doing a great job. It's going to take time because no leader's just alike, you know?
that
There's somebody for everybody. I would have loved to have seen these two. I tried to tell Pastor D and Derek to work together. I talked to them endlessly about this. Y'all got to work together in the name of your father to keep this together. It would have been incredible if even for a period of time, if Dennis is the pastor and Derek was assistant, it would be endless the success they could have if they truly loved each other and worked together and put the people and God first. That's undeniable.
Now, this is what stuck out to me. That surprised me because I did not hear. If I had heard that months ago, I probably would have been, man, shut your mouth, in my. But to hear that now where I am, it makes a ton of sense.
I'm with you.
It makes a ton of sense. And I even said to different people, and I'm gonna let you say this. I said to people, I'm not gonna go so hard because I believe that there is an opportunity for reconciliation between family. Even when I threw that out there to Pastor D, Dennis, and I said, why won't you sit down? You the oldest living sibling left in your family. You have this great opportunity to bring your family together. No, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. And I understand that death does things. But one of the things that death should do is bring people closer together instead of drive them. But if there's already a wedge there, and then you got on top of that wedge, you got millions of dollars at stake. Go ahead, brother.
What I was going to say is initially that's what, most of us thought it was going to be.
Yes, we did.
Based upon what was said at the funeral, the homegoing.
That's what Bishop Drew Shears said.
Yeah, he was saying it's in my hopes that these two would work together, and that's what we, at that point we were like, okay, well, this might,
After he said that, I felt better. But when he said that,
yeah, because at first I thought it's like, okay, well,
when I heard him say that Dennis has agreed, I was, man, my heart went to my feet.
That's why I was like, oh,
what?
It was
my
just,
God.
And so that's what I'm saying. But like, I thought, that's what it would be. That's what I even had the conversation with him as, hey, I mean, I thought y'all two was going to work together. Oh no, that's not going to happen.
No,
he
didn't want that. He's not.
Yeah. So what about reconciliation?
Yep. Yep.
No, I'm not doing it. And so that for me, and I mentioned that several times before. For me, that's what kind of discredit him as a spiritual leader for me, because
yes,
I was like, well,
yes.
How can you teach the love of God? How can you teach forgiveness when you telling me out of your own mouth that you're not willing to forgive your nephew,
Yes.
or whatever. But so that's
That's how it started. And I was in that same area, especially when I thought it was just it was so out of place for him to begin to with the people dog out Lady Bernice.
Mhm.
And I'm like, wait a minute now, um, I'm like, where are you getting this from? He was saying all kinds of things. He was saying, she trying to take down the whole church.
Mhm.
And I was like, where did you get that from? Who told you that? Like, what is all this stuff? Where's all this coming from? Then when he began to use divisive tactics to make the people in the church dislike Derek Jr.
Exactly. By saying he was coming here to start it.
Yep.
And that's really where our conversation started from.
Man, I laid into him after that when church was over. Why would you do that?
That's what I said. Why would you do that? So, well, first things first. I said, you need to talk to your nephew, if anything. Talk to him just to make certain that he is coming here for this reason. Well, it was told to me by a creditable source. I said, people lie all the time.
Nobody
so
told
why
him
wouldn't
that.
you talk to your nephew? I said, well, and I told him, I said, well, what this essentially is, it's some type of family issue, which I don't know. I don't even care to know till this day.
Yeah.
I said, it's some type of family issue. I said, but it's leaking
into the
church.
He's bringing it into the church.
He was the one who brought it into the
lead.
church.
He was the lead.
He was the one who did it. He was like, oh, no, I mean, I said, no, you need to talk to your nephew. I said, because guess what? At the same time, as the people are talking, he was like, well, who talking? Tell me who. I said, no, it ain't. That's not my job to say who's talking. I said, the people are talking. And I said, and at the same time, the people need to hear from you. Well, no, I ain't talking.
Yes.
God ain't told me to talk to the people. And ain't nobody gonna back me in no corner.
That you can't tell me that God will appoint you as a leader and tell you not to speak to the people.
Come on.
There is no recorded lead. Even the leader of a country speaks to the teacher is the leader in the classroom. You can't tell me, if you telling me that God told you not to speak to the people, how can they hear unless?
Come on in here.
What are you going to? And I said that you need to get out in front of this, because there are silos breaking out all over the church and people are wondering what is happening. And that fosters, and I said to him this, I said, you are fostering an environment of mistrust, distrust, and the people don't know who to talk to, who to believe. We don't know. And it's like we were walking around here looking at everybody like, well, can I talk to you?
Yeah, that's right.
And it really took us, because I made a pact with, for those of you who don't know, I made a pact with Randolph. And I told him, I said, I don't care where I go, what happens, what in all of this, I am never going to let anybody come to me and say anything about you negative. They're going to get a chopping.
That's right.
And I said, I'm with you 100%. We stayed together. We've been together in this thing ever since. And people have seen that camaraderie with Drina, you, Dr. Brockington, with the entire music department melded together, because we were the only thing that was keeping this church together. The only thing, all of the ministries were being completely dismantled. Let's hear a little bit more about what Bishop said, and then we're going to ride up.
But now you got division. I came to bring them together. They wouldn't talk. You saw me trying to talk, and they were shouting me down. And I'm not the enemy. I'm the friend, right? I came to help.
You came at the wrong time, Bishop.
Know what's going on? You got two sides talking, yelling, screaming, and you got to sit down and see the facts. Because what's going to happen? You're going to have to reveal the facts when you go before the judge. He's not going to know you like I don't know what's going on. But he's going to hear the facts.
Yes, sir.
See, what's funny about that? I caught it already. I caught it already. I'm gonna tell you. How did you know then? And this is a day later. This was a Wednesday. You didn't even say that to me.
You in my skin, bro. You right.
How did you know by Wednesday that there was going to be a court case?
Yes, sir. How did you know?
Now this is the day after the Tuesday.
This is the Wednesday morning. He's in his hotel.
Still in Orlando.
Yes.
How did you know there would be a court case?
Right.
Wow.
Telling you.
I got that real quick.
When he said that, I caught it so quick. I was like, wait a minute.
I never paid attention to that. I only watched the video. I don't even think I
You don't watch
this.
the whole
I didn't
thing?
watch this far in. But
And it's going to boil down to something, and somebody's going to be left out, disappointed, when you could have come together and made this work for your bishop, your father, your brothers, your friends' legacy. Okay? Let me tell you something. Legacy is what you leave behind. It's not necessarily who you leave behind. It's what you leave behind. You understand that? I hope you caught that. Legacy is not just who you leave behind, but what you leave behind. All right? Because I'll give you case in point. Bishop G. Patterson had no kids. So his legacy wasn't who he left behind. It was what he left behind. All right? And Bishop Derek W. Hutchins has an incredible preaching son, a great work, many sons and daughters. And
now, he went into depth right there, but one of the
I would
things
delete
that
every
he
app
did
on
say,
my phone for this.
one of the things that he said, and y'all need to go and find this video on YouTube. Go to find Brandon Porter. You're gonna see King Jives next to it, because King Jives was doing his little reaction, making his funny faces, and he was also used to be a member of Bishop's church, Bishop Porter's church, and I believe it was Memphis, right? Bishop Porter said, "You're gonna go to the court, and you're going to spend thousands of dollars unnecessarily."
Wow.
He said, I didn't get to that part because we gotta go.
Yeah,
And he said, you're gonna spend thousands of dollars. Well, Bishop, before we even got to court, hundreds of thousands of dollars had already been spent. Thousands of dollars on meals, thousands of dollars on a down payment on a Bentley that has never come to fruition because they were waiting on the key man policy to kick in. And Bishop Porter also said something about that key man policy, and I skipped over that. But you know what? We're going to come back to this next week. But right now, we got to go because it's late. It's after 11 o'clock. But we appreciate you all for taking out the time to join us tonight. I'm packing up. I got to go back to Polk County. But Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you. We thank you for this opportunity that you've given us again to be able to share with these your people who love you, your people who care about you, your people who know that you are their God. Blessed is the people whose God is the Lord. And so, Father, we thank you because everything that we're going through, we understand that you're going to take us to it, but then you're going to take us through it. And God, that's what we're dependent on. We're dependent on you. We're trusting in you. Our faith, our hope is in you. Thank you for everything that you've done and for where we are going in this present moment and in the future. In Jesus' name, thank y'all. Thank y'all, New Life, for joining us on tonight. We're going to see y'all. Peace out.